Happiness through curiosity on TRS Clips. Let's take table sugar as the base. I also want to talk about jaggery and sugar alternatives. And you know what? I'll also put fruits in that category because I think people overdo it with fruits. One serving of it, it's fine, but not all the time. It's not a snack replacement, etc. Vegetables, I won't say the same. So please correct me if I'm wrong. But let's start at these common aspects. I eat minimal table sugar oriented items.
Oriented item?
In terms of anything that's sweet, as far as possible, I avoid it. It's just how...
Okay, good. So you stay away from sweet?
As far as possible. That doesn't mean I don't eat sweet food.
Okay.
Once in a while, etc. I do eat fruit once a day, and I like getting sugar from that, and I eat it as my first meal. Am I doing something wrong, right, overall? Please correct me. But I want to take sweet as a taste, as a concept, because it's one of the most common problems that people face while trying to undergo weight loss or while trying to get fitter, that they have too much of a sweet tooth. So let's just address sugar. Talk about it from the gut perspective. What actually happens?
Whatever you are eating, right? So it goes down your oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, and we talked about the stomach acid secreting this, and then it goes into the small intestine. That's where the action happens. Okay. What happens in your small intestine? Loves simple sugar. So when you take laddu, it's white sugar, and the soda, it's all sweetened sugar. So then it gets easily absorbed. Okay, then it goes into the colon. Okay, then it goes into the colon. And there is no food for the bacteria in the colon.
Why?
Because they cannot feed. There is nothing left. Everything, all the simple glucose is completely absorbed in small. So then it starts eating the lining of the intestine.
Because the debris has triggered the awakened state of the colon. Ki something has entered. Then the bacteria gets released and it doesn't find anything to eat, so it starts eating the worms.
And also, even if something has entered, you need to feed the correct thing for the bacteria. If not, it's hungry, like what we are. When we are hungry, we look for food. Doesn't matter the food is available, they will create their own food.
Okay.
So that is the starting process of all this, right? So then why I keep saying that it eats up that lining, that's very, very key, because that is the connection gets widened on the 100 trillion firework cracker. When the connection gets widened, then there is a delay in the brain-gut connection. All right? When the signal is getting sent to the gut, it acts slower. Then the bad bacteria starts dictating what it wants. So it secretes chemicals, what it wants. So, for example, it secretes dopamine, and the dopamine can be easily transferred through that gap.
It secretes dopamine because it wants dopamine?
Because after eating this simple sugar, it's good. And then it creates dopamine, and then that dopamine gets transferred into your blood. It goes into your brain. It creates a craving. So the bad bacteria wants you to eat more of laddu, more of the sweetened beverages, more of the soft drinks.
You know, when we were kids and those cartoons with an angel and a devil on either side. Good bacteria and bad bacteria seems like that. Absolutely. Where the bad bacteria is like the devil saying, eat that sugar, you want that brownie, a little popcorn, eat it. You only live once, bitch. Sorry about cussing in front of you. You're such a sweet person, sir. But if I'm imitating a devil, I become a devil. So pardon my language.
But coming back to laddu.
See, this is your inner family man coming out. This is not a family show. Talking about my love life.
Oh, it's good. Good.
We'll talk about sexual health also. I'm sure there is some connection of sexual health and bacteria.
We should talk after 10 p.m. or what?
Let's come back to sugar, sir.
So anyway, for sugar, there are two kinds of sugars. Simple sugar and complex sugar. So simple sugar is the one that we talked about. But when you eat complex sugar, what happens is this sugar is being covered by a shield.
What are food items that have?
For example, let's say, whole grains.
Okay. Brown rice,
whole wheat. Okay. In
Nachni,
quinoa, ragi. So it has a complex carbs.
Right.
And this complex carbs is being covered by the shield. So it goes into small intestine. That small intestine bacteria will not be able to digest at all because it has the genes to create an enzyme to degrade that shield. And we don't have the gene. That is why we need those bacteria.
So you're saying when you eat complex carbohydrate like ragi, brown rice, whole wheat, a part of it gets absorbed by the stomach. then it travels to the large intestine. So what happens in the large intestine?
In the large intestine, why it is going into the large intestines, we do not have the genes to create the enzyme to degrade that shield into which the complex carb is inside. You understood that?
Every complex carbohydrate has a coating.
So just as an analogy.
Okay.
You need to degrade that, right?
Yeah.
So if you eat a whole grain bread, you have to degrade that. So we don't have the enzyme to degrade that. So it goes inside the colon, and the bacteria, good bacteria, have the enzyme to degrade it.
Okay. So the point here is we need to increase the amount of good bacteria in our large intestine.
Correct.
Which is going to happen again through a lifestyle,
Correct.
through life,
Correct.
through eating cleaner food, etc.
So what I'm trying to say is you have to feed them properly and you need them. It is not that you don't need them at all. And only then you'll be able to get all these digested. So when they digest it, they eat their food and they also give the calories back to us.
Okay. So effectively, you're saying that if you begin eating healthy, it might be difficult for your gut and your mind initially to adopt a healthy lifestyle, but as you move forward, it becomes easier.
Very easier. Very
Both
very
in terms
easy.
of cravings,
Yes.
etc. Because even your cravings are coming out of an unhealthy gut.
Correct. Cravings, I can guarantee you, if somebody does this of increasing the good gut bacteria by eating clean, cravings every week, it'll be decreasing in by percentage. 10%, 20%, 30%. On an average, in 6 months, cravings will be gone.
Okay.
But the initial willpower, that's what you're saying. But people think that it is their problem. They think that, I am craving for it. People always come and tell me that, hey, Dr. Pal, I'm not able to lose weight because I crave for this sweet tooth of chocolate right after I eat. Yes, you cannot use your willpower of not eating it. So you need to trick your body. So instead of having like a simple sugar, have a complex carb or have nuts so that you can also feed the gut bacteria. You are getting more good gut bacteria and you're creating this newer cycle where the cravings will be less. So next time the cravings episode might not be that severe.
Okay. Effectively, this is the harsh truth about weight loss, about the process of fitness in general. Your initial phase will be your hardest phase. If you can get past that first week, second week will be easy. The first month will be way harder than your second month. And your first year is where you're truly tested.
Correct.
But it'll be life-changing. If you can get past that 1 year, the rest of your life is easier.
Correct.
Take one difficult year.
Correct.
Or take 10 difficult years in your 40s, 50s, 60s.
Correct.
It's one of the two.
Correct.
Which is why when you're young and when you're...
It's easier.
Yeah, when it's easier. When your neural patterns are not that used to eating shit.
Correct.
Switch it up. Okay. Anything else you want to add about cravings, or especially when it's sweet cravings? Because, Conor McGregor, he's a UFC fighter. He's famously said that every time he used to crave anything sweet, he used to have cinnamon and it used to help him.
Correct.
So
I always have nuts. Nuts is my way to go.
Okay.
And I remember your gut bacteria loves fiber and fermented foods. So whenever you give nuts, you're giving fiber. Again, whenever I eat, I always have this thing in the back of the mind that what I am feeding my gut bacteria with. So when during the cravings, if I actually help my gut bacteria to decrease the cravings, that's the best case scenario, win-win situation for both of us.
In my gallbladder phase, where I had the gallstone, I had a big sweet tooth. Wanted dessert after every meal. I got so scared after that gallbladder surgery that I got scared enough to leave desserts. And I saw that over the course of 1 year, my sweet tooth died. Which is why when people say they have a sweet tooth, especially if they're young, in my eyes and heart, my thought, I don't voice it out. I used to voice it out and tell people that you don't have a sweet tooth. It's all in your mind. Now, I just say that, okay. But in my head, I'm thinking, this is artificially created.
Correct.
This is a completely fabricated thing. This is a story you're telling yourself. Because I'll tell you what, this is personal experience.
Correct.
I think it's true for a lot of other people who've gone through something similar. What eventually happens is you kind of lose your craving for sweets. You don't really need dessert. And after a point, after you've lost that craving for dessert, when you actually try eating dessert again, the sugars taste, that sweet taste is so sharp that all desserts taste the same. And you kind of don't want it anymore. You lose that variety of taste in dessert. At least this is what I felt. Like sugar's taste became too sharp in my mouth. And I've seen how my palate has changed over the course of my life. Like things I used to like in terms of taste earlier, didn't like after a point.
But it took some time.
Yeah. So there is something neurologically going on with my gut.
Correct.
That's changing my taste preferences.
Correct.
So when people say they have a sweet tooth, it's actually an excuse to not chase fitness.
Correct. Yeah.
In many
And
cases.
initially, it's the solution to that is not to eat sweet. It's not that you cannot eat sweet at all. That's the problem. So people exercise a lot of willpower. Okay, no, I'm not going to eat this laddu. No, not at all. But that willpower will last only for a week or two. Okay, and then slowly you will come back and then say, oh, you know what, that's it, let's just eat right away. So willpower is like the battery charge on your phone. It dies down. So you need to keep charging and you need to use your willpower only for like specific things that you really matters.
How do you like increase willpower?
So by making some masking situations, for example, okay, I know that I'm not going to eat this sugary thing right after my meal, but you mimic that with something else.
Like,
in my case, it can be nuts, or let's say that somebody is, let's say dairy milk. I'm not going to eat the whole thing. I'm going to eat half of it. And then 1/4 after, slowly. So you don't have to go through that much. Your willpower will last longer.
would you suggest stevia?
Yes, plant-based non-calorie sweeteners.
Okay.
It's not as bad as the artificial sweeteners.
Artificial sweeteners also harm gut health.
Big time. 30-40% of the bacteria
Destroyed.
I mean, in due course of time. That's why I always say that, sugar, diet soft drink is not a better way of, it's better just you drink the regular thing at work. At least from a gut health standpoint. I know calorie wise, it's less, right? But artificial sweetness, high fructose corn syrup and all these, sucralose, aspartame. Many people drink it because it is less calories. They will lose weight because calorie intake is less. But the gut bacteria repopulation is significantly affected. Significantly.
My practice, it's very easy, is if I don't know about consuming a particular sweet thing, I turn it around, I see the packaging. If it has sugar, I prefer that over it having aspartame, sucralose. Is sorbitol also in that category?
Sorbitol, no. I don't know. I think aspartame, sucralose is a very common thing.
I believe sorbitol is
could be. I don't know.
Liquid sugar. I don't think it's an artificial sweetener as far as I know.
I see.
But if there's ever aspartame or sucralose, I just put that item down.
Yeah.
You want to say anything about it?
So I slightly differ in a practical standpoint is that, see, in my weight loss journey, I wanted to see the drop in my weight. That was my motivating factor. I did so many things, it didn't work out at all. So then I said that, this artificial sweetness, it didn't have any calories at all. So I started using them. Diet soft drinks. I know that it is bad, but in my busy lifestyle, I was not able to include anything else. Okay. So I said that, okay, I'll do this. And then what I did was I stopped eating late at night and I just, okay, I'll eat whatever I want as much as healthy possible, but within this, and I'll choose low calorie thing. And this one was one of the main thing. In 30 days, I started losing weight. And I was at cloud 9 when my 200 pounds, 220 pounds came down, 100 kilos came down to like 95. Then that was my motivating factor, right? So now I know, okay, this is going to work. I'm going to the next level. So then I started really thinking, okay, no artificial sweeteners. As exactly what you said, I turned the back of the label and then say first 3 ingredients. If there is sugar, preferably not. Okay. And it's also the order of ingredient as well. So let's say the third one is sugar. It's okay. The first one is sugar, absolutely not. Because you know that it has been listed based on the amount of percentage in the body in that possible can. So, and in my research, what we have involved is it's very clear that aspartame, sucralose, and all these artificial sweeteners have change of bacterial population. We just don't know how it is going to affect down the road. It might not affect right away. That's the problem. The thing happens 10 years down the road. And that's why we need to inculcate good habits now so that it will reap us benefits in future.
You need to do the boring stuff right now. That's effectively what it is. The more boring your life is, the healthier you will be.
Correct. It's like investment.
Yeah. Lots of...
Investment has to be boring.
Yeah. Lots of health content creators get pissed off when I say that. But the truth is, the drier and more boring your food and life is, the healthier you'll be, the better you'll look.
Absolutely. One of my common questions that I ask my YouTube channel is, what do you think about green tea? I say, green tea is good for you only if you go to the mountains and you climb and you pluck the green tea leaves by yourself.
In terms of weight loss, you're saying?
In terms of weight loss. So they think that green tea is one of the biggest remedy, right? Like all these fancy. Yes, green tea is good, but it has to go along with all the other things as well.
I forgot the active molecule in green tea.
Catechinins.
Yeah. And I remember making a video very long back for BeerBiceps about green tea. My research told me that for those... What was
catechinins?
For those to work, you need to have 23 cups of green tea in a day. Then they'll actually cause weight loss. Good luck with absorbing all that caffeine, all that diuretic.
Correct.
All these things are fads. Again, it boils down to the basics.
Correct.
So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to TRS Clips for more.